Welcome back to another tutorial on Sketchup. This time we're going to be covering layers and scenes and how to use them to create an animation like this moving drawer. It's really easy working with layers. They're not that complicated. It gets a little befuddling sometimes. All it really requires is some patience, and you'll be able to make moving images like this very easily. Let's get started. The first thing we want to do is shut this off. And I want to be sure that I save this drawing. We'll save this just in case we're not able to replicate it. Yeah, we want to save this, and we'll save it as drawer. And that way, in case I mess this up, at least we'll have that image back. I'm going to start with the same mode that I usually do with a new drawing. I'm going to select that ruler by right-clicking on it and choosing Erase. And in this drawing, we're going to work in the elevation perspective. We're going to start this one looking straight at it instead of in the plan mode like we did in the last drawing. So we're looking straight at it. I'll choose the rectangle tool, and I'll draw a rectangle here that's 24 inches by 12 inches. I'm typing in those dimensions and entering them into this dimension box down here, and I'll press return and press enter, and it didn't quite work because I moved my mouse. So let's do that again. And I'll press 24, 12 and press enter, and it resizes it automatically. When you move your mouse or you touch a key or something, it defeats that ability to press keys and then press the enter button. So we've got our drawer here, or at least our box, the beginnings of our box. Let's create the sides. We'll use the offset tool. And I'll come in from the sides, let's say 1/2 inch. So I'll enter 1/2 and press enter. And now we've got a 1/2 inch offset here. And I'll lose the center by erasing it. So we've got a frame here that's, oh, I'm sorry. You make your cases out of 3/4 inch stock? Okay, we'll go backwards. We'll use the offset tool again. And this time we'll come in 3/4 by pushing 3/4 and the enter key, and we have a 3/4 inch offset. So the offset tool is really handy. You can use it if you want to go outside the box that you're working on, or if you want to go inside, and you can type in the exact dimension of the offset you want. And we'll be using that several times in this tutorial. We're going to lose the center, so I'm going to erase that. I'm going to rotate this around. And you know, these access lines, sometimes they get distracting, so I'm going to lose those by clicking on the access and unchecking them. And now those bars are gone. Let's look at the front of this one more time. There's the front. We'll rotate around to the back. We'll use the push-pull tool. I have shortcut keys I've made for a lot of these. For the push-pull tool, I just push the letter P, and I automatically get that push-pull tool. I'm going to pull it out to 12 inches, so I'll enter 12 and then press the enter key. And now my box is 12 inches deep. That's one of those instances I was talking about where once you push-pull something, don't move your mouse again until you've entered the dimensions and pressed enter. Otherwise, you won't be able to enter dimensions. The SketchUp thinks you're moving on to something else. So we've got the case made here, and we'll use the offset key one more time because we want to put a back on this case, and we'll want to rabbit the sides for the back. So we'll use the offset tool to create that rabbit. I'm going to take the offset tool, put it on the side, and drag it in a little bit until it's about 3/8 of an inch. And then I'll use the push-pull tool. I'm going to push the letter P because that's my shortcut, and pull the back of the case, the side of the case out, and then I'll enter 1/2 and press enter, and we've got a 1/2 inch offset here. That now 1/2 inch rabbit in the back of the case. That's a really simple way to create a rabbit in the back of a case. But before we put the actual back on, let's make sure we turn this whole drawing into a group. Now we can use the select tool to do that. I've created a shortcut for the select tool too. I push the space bar and it turns whatever tool I'm using, it turns it into the select tool. I'm going to triple click on that group, on that image, and make a group out of it. From the drop down menu I can choose make group. Notice I've got a shortcut key for make group 2, it's G, just like I have a shortcut key for make component, and it's C. So we'll make that a group, and now we have our case and it's all finished. Let's put the back on it. We'll draw a rectangle back here. That creates our back. We'll use the push-pull tool. I'll push P, and I'll push the back inside the case. You notice it says 1 inch here. We don't want it to be 1 inch. We want to push it in and type in 1/2 and press enter, and now we have a 1/2 inch thick back. If we look inside, it certainly looks correct to here. So correct from the inside view too. So let's use this select tool by pushing the space bar, triple click rather on the back, triple click on the back, and choose make group again. I'll push G, and it'll just turn that back into a group. There we go. Now we're ready to make the drawer itself. Let's get a new view here so it's easy to work on. We'll take the rectangle tool and draw a new rectangle across here, and we've got the drawer that fits inside this opening, but it's a little too snug because it fits exactly to the case. So what we want to do is use the offset tool and create an offset for our gap. Let's say you want to have an 1/8 inch offset. Enter 1/8 and you'll have yourself a 1/8 inch offset. Then use the select tool to select the gap area between the case and push the delete key to eliminate that one area. So you've eliminated the gap area around the bookcase, around the drawer case, around the drawer face, and it's an 1/8 inch. Oh, you're a fastidious carpenter, huh? Well then, let's make that gap a 1/16 inch. So we'll change the gap by using the offset tool. We'll bring the gap over, we'll bring that offset in, and we'll make it 1/16 inch and press enter, and now we've got a real tight clearance around that case. But since this drawing's perfect, we can do that. We'll use the select tool. I press the space bar. Use the select tool to select that area where the gap is, press the delete key, and bingo, we've got our drawer face, and it's going to clear the sides by a 1/16 inch. Now let's double click on that and turn it into a group. No, let's turn that into a component. So we'll make that a component, and we'll call it drawer, and make sure that this little box is checked so that when you're finished you'll be creating and seeing a component. And we know that's a component now. It has that blue line around it, and we want to edit that component. Now, in the last program I showed you how you use the drop down menu by selecting it and then using the right mouse button to choose edit component. Now you don't have to go through those steps. You can take your cursor, your select tool, and just double click it. Double click on any group or component, and it's in edit view. Now you're in edit mode, and we want to take that drawer and make it into 3 dimensions. So we'll use the push pull tool. I'm going to push on P, and I'm going to push that drawer back, and you see it's 31 3/16 is coming way out the back of the case. Well, we want it to be 12 inches. So I'll enter 12 and press enter, and now our drawer just fits inside that case. We're through editing it, at least at this time, we're through editing it. So we'll go back to the select tool by pressing the space bar, and then double click outside of the editable region here, and we'll go back to a normal view. Now we want to slide that drawer out of there, and you remember how to do that. We use the move tool. I made letter M a shortcut key for the move tool, so I just have to push M, click on that drawer once, and then start sliding it out. You notice we've got the green axis line showing up there. Let's make sure we keep it on the green axis line by pushing down the shift key and holding it while we move that drawer all the way out. If you don't hold down the shift key when you're moving these images, it can get off axis, and if the drawer ever gets off axis, it's very difficult to get it exactly in the axis, exactly in the spot you want it in. It can stick to the group of the case itself. I mean, you can get it off the case, but it's very difficult to do it exactly where you want it. So keep it on axis. Hold down that shift key and then click the left mouse button once more once you have it where you want it, before you let go of the shift key. So now we're going to edit this again We're going to edit that drawer one more time. I'm going to touch the space bar so I have the select tool, double click on that drawer so I'm back in the edit mode, use the offset tool again to create a 1/2 inch offset on the inside of this box. Press enter and we have a 1/2 inch offset. Now I'm going to use the push-pull tool. I'm going to push P and push the center down, and there it is at the very bottom. That's 10 3/8. So the very bottom of the case is at 10 3/8. I'm going to bring that back up and I'm going to set it at 9 7/8. I'll type in 9 space 7/8 and press enter, and now we have a bottom on that case that's 1/2 inch thick, and we're through editing on the bottom of the drawer. We're through editing the drawer. So we push the space bar and double click and we're back in normal view. Let's slide that drawer back in. We'll get ourselves a nice view to do that from. Just rotate that drawing around a little bit. Push M for the move tool, or click on the move tool over here and slide that back in. Now I'm going to click it once, I'm going to slide it out, hold down the shift key and slide it back in until it's flush. And flush looks about right. And actually, now that I'm holding down the shift key, I can move the tool. If you're holding down the shift key, you can move your tool right to the edge of the case and it'll be perfectly flush. If you're not holding down the shift key, you'll be moving the drawer all over the place when you move the tool sideways. So I'm moving it sideways until the move tool is right on the case. Then I'm going to click once and then let go of the shift key. So it's perfectly flush now. Now we're ready to make some layers. The first thing we want to do is create multiple images of that drawer. So I'm going to put the original drawer in a nice position and kind of tilt it a little bit there so we can see what we're doing. And we're going to use the move tool. We've already got the move tool selected. And before we move that drawer this time, we're going to hold down the control key because we want to move a copy. So we hold down the control key, click on the drawer once, pull your copy out, and let go of the control key. Now, once you get the green axis line, get yourself back on the green axis, hold down the shift key, and keep holding it as you pull that drawer out. And I'm going to pull it out until it just sticks inside the cabinet, because we don't want the drawer all the way out, it'll fall on the floor. So we'll just have it stuck just inside the cabinet a little ways, then click one more time on the left mouse button to tell it to stop moving, and then let go of the shift key. And now press the slash key and the letter and the number 4, because we want to create multiple copies of that drawer. And this is the same technique that we used when we made multiple copies of a shelf in the bookshelf tutorial. I'm going to press the enter key now and we'll get our multiple copies. Very simple. We could have pushed /5 or /3 and had a different number of copies, but 4 is going to work really good for this tutorial. Now let's move this drawing off to the side a little bit so we have a little bit more room here, and we'll bring up the layers window. We'll have to bring up the layers window by clicking on the window menu and then choosing layers. You'll notice I have a shortcut key for the layers window too, W. I use the layers window frequently in almost every drawing I do. Now there's one other window we're going to need too. Let's change our tool to the select tool. We can push the space bar, click on the select tool, and let's select the last image, the furthest projection. It's the easiest one to get to. See, all you have to do is click on the outside of that the drawer on the last projection, the furthest projection of the drawer, and you'll select that image. It's hard to get the interior ones. You're not really sure which ones you're getting. It gets a little confusing. So we'll start with this last one. Now we want to create a layer for each one of these images. So we're going to need 5 layers. So we'll use the plus button here and we'll create 5 layers by pushing the plus button 5 times, and we have our 5 layers now. Now we want to assign each one of these images to one of these layers. To do that, we'll right click on that image and we'll get the Entity Info window. You notice I've got a shortcut key for that too. The Entity Info window will stick to the Layers window, which is kind of handy, so you can move them around and put them off to the side. because you need to work with both of them simultaneously. We've got this last image, the last image of the drawer selected, so we're going to assign that to layer 5. So we'll go up to the Entity Info window, use the drop-down menu to assign that selected drawer to layer 5. Now, to make sure and to check that we have put it in the right layer, we'll come down here to the Layers window and we'll click on this little box here so it's unchecked, and it'll go invisible. When it's checked, it's visible. When it's unchecked, it's invisible. So layer 5 has that last image of the drawer in it, which is perfect. Now, to make this easier, let's make all of these invisible. Every layer will be invisible except this one, because that's the layer we're working on and you can't make that invisible. Go ahead and try and you'll see what happens. I'll let you do that on your own. So we'll select the next layer just by clicking on it, and we'll make the next image and we'll assign that to layer 4. And we'll click on the next one and we'll assign that to layer 3. All we're doing is we're selecting the image, and then we're selecting the layer that we want to put it into, and we're assigning it to that layer. We've got one more to do. Yeah, we have to create a layer out of the drawer when it's in its closed position too, in order to have a good animation. So we select the last one, the last image, and we assign that to layer 1. And look, the box is empty, so we know we did it right. Now, let's tip this just a little bit so we can see inside of it, and we're ready to create our animation. In order to create an animation, you have to use scenes, or if you're using the old version of SketchUp, pages. In order to create your first page or scene, go to View, click on Animation, Add Scene. So this is our first scene, and our first scene, we want it to have the drawer in it. We don't want it to be an empty box. So let's make that drawer visible. So now in scene 1, we have a drawer that's visible, and to make sure the scene is finished, let's update it. Right-click on it and choose Update from the drop-down menu. So if you click on scene 1 again, you'll notice the drawer's in it. Now let's create a new scene for the drawer in its next position. Before we create the scene, let's put the drawer in the right position, and it'll kind of eliminate one step. So we'll have layer 1 invisible and layer 2 visible. So the drawer is beginning to open, and now we'll create a second scene. Once you have your first scene up, your first tab up, you can right-click on that tab and choose Add from the drop-down menu. And that way you don't have to go back to Window. I also have created a shortcut key for adding a scene, and I use the letter N to create that shortcut key. To create shortcut keys is really easy. Go to the window, use the drop-down menu to pick Preferences, and choose Shortcuts. And you can create a shortcut key for almost any tool or command in SketchUp. If you want to create a shortcut key for, let's look at one of these. Let's say if you wanted to create a shortcut key for making a group. You notice I've already assigned G to that. You could assign a new shortcut key to it if you wanted to. Let's say you wanted to assign M to that. You could say make M that shortcut key. Oh look, M is currently used by Tools Move, so you can't make a mistake here. Would you like to assign that? No. But if you wanted to, you could say yes, and it would, and then you'd have G and M, or whatever you want to do. So you can customize this to do anything you want. It's a really handy thing to have. So now let's change the view to layer 3 and eliminate layer 2, so the drawer is opening some more, and we'll create a new scene for that view. Let's create another scene now for layer 4, and we'll have layer 3 invisible. And we'll just keep going through this. For the future ones, I'll use my shortcut key. For layer 5, I'll push N, and that'll create... Oh, it didn't work. So my shortcut key isn't working at the moment. I'll fix that later. So we'll add another scene for that. Now we want to add a secondary scene, a scene 6, that has that drawer in the open position, so when we have the animation, it kind of drags there for a second. The drawer will stay open for just a second longer by having two scenes with the drawer open here. The next scene we want is with the drawer closing. So we create a new scene, and then we want the drawer closing a little bit more, so we'll create another scene, and we'll make the next window visible and create another scene, and finally we'll make that layer invisible and the very first layer visible for the last scene. And let's see how this works. Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3, Scene 4, Scene 5, the drawer is open all the way. Scene 6 is the same as Scene 5. Scene 7, the drawer begins to close. 8, 9, and 10. The drawer is closed all the way. Excellent. We've got just what we needed, except there's one problem. We don't have a drawer pull. Let's create a drawer pull now. What we'll do is we can take this drawing and get it a little bit turned around here a little bit so we can draw on it easier. We'll make a round pull, and we'll put it right in the center of this drawing. There's the midpoint. We'll come up from there, and we'll make a little round pull, and uh-oh. Now what's going to happen if I do this? Watch. If I put the pull right there, and I go to Scene 9, where did it go? Scene 8, where's that pull? Didn't make it a part of the component. Let's go back, and this time we'll press the space bar to get the select tool, double click on that component of the drawer. It doesn't matter which scene you're in. If you edit one component, one image of a component, it edits them all. So we'll create that drawer pull right on the component by editing the component. So we'll go back to the circle tool, find the center of the midpoint, come up, and draw a little circle right there. And then we'll use the push-pull tool to pull that circle off the face of the drawer a little bit. Just a little bit. Half an inch or so. And then let's create another circle on top of it. And that'll be our pull. That's not quite centered, is it? Let's try again. We'll get that second one centered there, a little bit closer. That's a good size pull. And we'll pull that out, and we'll make it, let's make it a half inch. I'll enter 1/2, and there's our pull. So we go back to the select tool, and we're through with that, editing that in that edit view. We're through with that edit view, and you can see that pull is just clearing the drawer. Just doesn't really matter. The pull doesn't matter, but let's go back to Scene 10. And look, now that pull is in every single one of those scenes. Another really handy feature of the component tool. So let's get rid of the entity info window and the layers window and look at this as an animation. We'll go to View, Animation, Play. And it takes a moment for the drawing to build the animation, and then it begins to cycle through each one of these scenes. You notice it's taking a little bit of time to get through each scene. You can adjust that. You can customize how the animation works for you. Let's click on Stop and go to View, Animation, Settings. And you'll notice it says Enable Scene Transitions. We don't need transitions. You can enable scene transitions, especially if you have a drawing where you're changing perspective. It's kind of nice to have transitions because then you get this dramatic panning effect as it changes from one scene to the next. But we haven't changed perspective at all in this drawing. The drawers stayed exactly in the same perspective, so we don't need transitions. And we'll have scene delays of 1 second. So let's try that out and see how that animation works now. And it should be a little bit slicker. There we go. And you notice as it cycles through, the drawer begins to open, and as it gets to Scene 5, it hangs up there for a second. There we go. And that's why we duplicated scene 5 and scene 6, so it shows that window staying, that drawer staying open a little bit. Now let's stop there, and I'll show you one last technique. And this is where layers gets really confusing. Let's say we want to put some dimensions in here. You've already finished your drawing, and we want to say that this box is 24 inches by 12 inches. Oh, it's 12 and a half because we added that. Remember, we added the back to it. So it's 24 inches by 12 inches. If you leave those dimensions there and you start cycling through your scenes, look, they're going to show up in every single scene. And do you want them in every scene? You may not. You may want different dimensions in different scenes. You may want to zoom in and show one scene where you're showing the thickness of the case or the depth of the box. Or in scene 6, you may want to change the perspective and show the width of the interior of the box, or the exact dimension of the box. And in order to do that sort of thing, you want to create layers for your text as well. Now, here's where layers gets a little bit complicated. We're going to go back to the layers window. I'm going to push L. Oh, I didn't get it that time, so let's go to window and push L. Oh, that's because W is the shortcut key. I keep forgetting my shortcut keys. Okay, so we've got the layers window, and we want the entity window too. We'll right-click on that dimension and choose entity information. And let's change the tool now to the select tool. It makes it easier. I'll push the space bar, and we're going to create another layer here. This time we'll push the plus button, and we'll call it text. And you could call it layer 1 text or top text or whatever. A lot of times in a drawing you'll end up with many different text layers. So this time we'll just call it text 1. And what we'll do is we'll assign these two dimensions by holding down the control key. I can pick them both. If you hold down the control key when you go to select the second one, you can pick them both and assign them to that layer, to text 1. Now here's where you got to be a little bit patient. Right now, text 1 is going to be visible in every single one of these scenes, and we don't want it that way. So we have to go to every scene, and we have to say we don't want text 1 visible in you. We don't want text visible in scene 10. We don't want the text visible in scene 9. And we have to update that scene. So we have to right-click and choose Update. Did we do that to scene 10? Nope. So let's make the text invisible. Right-click, choose Update. And this is where the real patience comes in. Make it invisible, choose Update. Anytime you change the scene, you change which layers are visible, you have to update the scene. So you have to go through every single one of these individually, make that text invisible, and update the scene. And we'll get to the last one here. We want it invisible there. We'll make that invisible, and scene 1, we'll leave it visible. So now you can see each one of these scenes doesn't have the text in it, only the first scene. So that's another use of layers. And that finishes this tutorial.